Hey guys, and welcome back to GCC. I just wanted to talk about this game I've been playing because man, it blew me away. Detroit Become Human is the first AAA game I played since I beat the new God of War. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about having anything ruined for you if you haven't played it yet. Let's dive right in. As far as Quantic Dream's previous games go, I beat both Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls when they first released on the PS3. And while I enjoyed both of them, they were never contenders for my personal Game of the Year award. Knowing that I enjoyed both of these games though, I figured I was probably going to like this one as well. To understand where this game comes from, we need to go back to March of 2012. Quantic Dream released a video titled Kara. This video was prefaced with a single line of text saying, "The following footage is a prototype running in real time on the PlayStation 3. It is a concept only and is not taken from any software title currently in development." The video features the assembly of a third-generation AX400 android. As the process continues, the android is named Kara and fulfills a series of tests and diagnostic parameters. After all the checks are finished, Kara is told she is ready to be sold, to which Kara objects to, saying she thought she was alive. As the assembly tech realizes that Kara is behaving in very non-robotic ways, and strikingly human-like ways, he freaks out and begins to disassemble her for testing and troubleshooting. Kara begs and pleads for him to stop, saying she's only just been born and isn't ready to die yet. The tech stops and makes her promise not to get him in trouble. She agrees and is packaged up like the rest of the AX400 androids ready to be sold. So what we see is an android break the mold and experience true self-awareness, emotions, and perseverance of life.
Detroit.
Obviously, Quantic Dream decided to expand the concept of self-aware androids and created a whole world around that theme. The character of Kara carried over into their new game, and her story is fully explored. Sony has been hitting back-to-back home runs with their exclusives lately, and Detroit is no exception. I tried my hardest to avoid any spoilers for myself before the game launched, and only ever watched the reveal trailer to get an idea of what the game was going to be like. Going in with no expectations meant that there was no hype train to be derailed by a letdown of a game. Luckily though, I didn't have to worry about being disappointed because this game sucked me in. Without divulging too much, suffice to say that from the moment you press start, you're thrown right into the heat of the action. The game takes place in Detroit in the year 2038, when androids have become a household commodity and have begun to perform all of the menial labor that previously had to be handled by humans. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. The android laborers moving into and overtaking these job sectors means that while labor can be relatively cheap and the risk of human life in hazardous occupations is lessened, it leaves many people unable to find employment. Over 30% of the US population is currently unemployed in this game, which creates a lot of animosity towards our robotic buddies. Throughout the game, you play as a bunch of different characters, each with their own opinions, struggles, and dreams. As you assume their roles, you realize that not everything is as cut and dry as it seems. Every chapter lets you guide the characters down their own path, changing and growing along the way. I believe that every single main character can die, and the story still goes on. It probably won't be the ending that you want, but it's possible. Each character has different skill sets that you employ to explore the world, and you, as the player, have the opportunity to see it all from the bird's eye view, connecting each piece of lore together to figure out what is going on and what is likely to happen next. The game's pacing felt perfect to me, with a fine balance of insanely tense moments of life and death, to slower, more story and dialogue driven moments where I became attached to these characters. I can honestly say that every character had me on edge, worrying if the choice I was about to make would result in a negative outcome. The sheer number of paths the story can take is awesome. I really enjoyed seeing the flowcharts at the end of each chapter, because I get to not only see which choices I made, some without even knowing, but what percentage of people made the same choice. I also got to see that there even were other choices to make, which made me think and speculate about what other paths I could have picked. I can see myself replaying this game many times, just to see how things could have been. Each character in the game has so many options and choices to make, with different outcomes and influences that pan out later in the game. This is the type of game where, after I beat it for the first time, and the end credits is scrolling, I just sit there and think, holy crap, now what? It's the type that leaves me with a game hangover, where I can't decide what to play next because I'm afraid it won't hold up. After about a week, I'm usually up to starting a new game again. I'm sure that in a few months, after the hundreds of choices begin to fade from my memory, I'll go back and try other paths and feel like I'm playing it for the first time again. I look forward to it, just as I enjoyed playing Heavy Rain again a year or so after I beat that game for the first time. So in summary, do I recommend this game? Absolutely. Do I think it justifies the $60 price tag? Hell yeah, this game is awesome. Even though I beat it in about 3 days, it's because I felt like I couldn't put the controller down. The chapters were timed and staged just right where no one part is too long or too much, and each section ends on a cliffhanger, which kept me glued to the screen for just one more chapter. I think anyone who enjoys a story-driven game will find Detroit Become Human right up their alley. Character development is one of my favorite aspects of video games, especially when I, as the player, am directly involved with the outcome. I've always enjoyed this, most notably in games like Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, and Mass Effect. And this game fills that void really well. While it isn't as action-packed as God of War, and it does have a lot of quick-time events, I didn't mind it because they just did it really well. What drove me crazy in a good way was that sometimes I didn't feel like there was necessarily a good or a bad choice because they all sucked. So I had to try and figure out which one wasn't going to get everyone killed. For those of you who haven't had a chance to play it yet, I have one piece of advice for you. Just keep playing. Even if the choice you make ends up with someone dying or something terrible happening, just keep going. Resist the urge to go back and try again, because it makes the game that much more compelling and impactful, in my opinion. You have a chance after you beat the game to either start over or go back and replay any chapter you want, so just keep going. I really think you'll enjoy the game more if you do it this way, even though you'll probably get stressed out that you might not be getting the best ending or even the good ending. The game's choices have consequences for a reason, and not everything is exactly what it seems like right after you make a choice. So just ride it out and see what happens. I've been blown away by Sony's exclusives in the last few years, and I'm excited to see what comes next. With the announcement of so many cool games coming to the Xbox One, I think we've got some awesome years of gaming in store for us. Thanks for tuning into my review of Detroit Become Human. If you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe to see what games or hardware I take a look at next. If you're interested in building a budget home theater PC, check out my build guide right here. If you're interested in other games that will blow your mind, check out my review of Undertale right here. Thanks for watching.